Dude, I love Baku and Nemu's relationship so much. And I want to make that upfront and clear because I can smell from a mile away that the show is gonna pull some shit that's gonna make me so emotional between them. Because it has happened before with with other besties in other Kamen Rider series. Like, they'll get me attached to them, and then something horrible is going to happen that'll make me very sad. It's it's inevitable. It's inevitable. I can smell that it's gonna happen a mile away. But ah, I like how I like how a good portion of this episode was dedicated to kind of Baku and Nemu's relationship. Because especially since the last thing that they dealt with was the whole prison scenario with her adopted father slash manager, where it was revealed that she was comatose and kidnapped, and that Baku is like he's made it a promise that he's gonna look for her now. I like how this episode is kind of like building off of that one and being like, well, now the two of them kind of don't have any secrets that they're hiding from each other in this regard. So they are allowed to be kind of like a lot more open with each other. And it's fun because already the difference with how Baku treats Nemu as well, because like at the beginning of the show, he treated her as kind of this big deal because, celebrity, like he was always eager to impress her and everything, to be like kind of the cool guy in that situation. But since like last episodes of it, it's like I don't know how to explain it, but their dynamic this episode feels a lot more like friendly. Like instead of it being a case of like parasocialism or trying to put on acts for each other, like they're both more earnestly themselves now with each other. And of course Baku is still like he gives her the little drink that he made. He's like, I made it for you. Like of course they're still kind of keeping that banter up, but I don't know, it just feels a lot more personal and I really like that. And ultimate I can tell they're going to hurt me. They're going to hurt me somehow, and I'm not ready for when that happens. But I do want to say before I move on to more things that happened in the episode, because it's been on my mind because I saw a theory recently. Like I saw someone make a post about the theory that potentially, what if because Nox seems to be able to kind of Nox physically can manifest in the waking world, despite him commanding the nightmares and presumably being a nightmare himself. And the theory I saw suggested, what if, because Nemu was asleep, she was asleep when the truck hit, when she was knocked into that comatose state. So, and the theory suggested basically, what if Baku is kind of a manifestation of a dream that she was having? Like, I think I'll put the theory up on screen so you can read it for yourself. But ultimately, it's kind of like, what if Nemu was dreaming of someone to kind of save her from her situation, and Baku was somehow born out of that? And it's a pretty out there theory, but I personally really like it, and I think it could be interesting if that was the case in some sort of way. Um, and I bring it up because I was just talking about Baku and Nemu's friendship with each other, and I think it would be a really interesting dynamic if that was the truth of it. But, you know, no way of finding out at the moment. Speaking of things going on with Baku, um, right, part of the theory as well was the mention that, Baku has been struck by lightning, he's been struck by a fucking UFO, he's been attacked by a shark, and yet he's still fine from that. So it could potentially lean into, like, if he was kind of a manifestation of of a dream, then why he wouldn't be, mortally wounded after all of these incidents. And just something to chew on, and I wanted to share with it because it has been living in my brain rent free. And until the show actively disproves it, I will be taking that and I will be running away with it. It's mine now. Um, Speaking of NEMU, though, I like how, as well as because now NEMU and Baku are more friendly with each other, I like how, well, Nemu has now met Zero, and Zero kind of, I think Zero gave her like her own communication device, so you know, she can be in contact with them, which is like, yay, Nemu officially being Baku's partner. That's so awesome. I love that. I just anytime they're on screen together, I love them. I love them. Have I made it clear yet how much I love them? Um, God, Zero. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without me sounding absolutely deranged, but I'm just gonna straight up say it. I think Zero is hot. I can't help it. I can't help it. I have a thing for robots, and his voice is also really nice, and I want him to read me an audiobook. I don't care what the book is, I just want him to read it to me. uh when Zero gave Nemu the flower, I'm like, it should have been me. That should have been me in her place. He should be giving me flowers. Very indulgent, but like, listen, I only have this kind of feeling like once in a blue moon for a fictional character, so like, let me have this one. Let me have this one. This this voiceover has kind of gotten off the rails a bit. Like, my mind is kind of ping-ponging all over the place, but it's just there's just so much to think about. Like how Baku is fucking dead. That is okay, that is something I was curious about though, regarding, because nightmares do have an impact on the real world. So if a nightmare does kill you, you will stay dead, which is very good to know for the future because that does raise the stakes a lot more there. And I feel so bad for Minami, man. Like, from her perspective, her brother has just started acting a lot weirder. Like, he started doing things that are like kind of very out of nature. He suddenly has like some like random things that he see that you've never seen before. Like, he's got a new camera, he's got a new fucking a Saiyan scouter. But like, he's acting weird, he's acting very kind of flighty, poking into other people's business. He says that he knows people who she couldn't really understand how he could possibly know them outside of the vague thing that he stated of we've met in dreams. And uh I'm curious too, because when they were going down the hall of the restaurant, Baku like kind of offhandedly mentioned like, "Oh yeah, no, I work under that guy," and Minami was like instantly like, "I'm sorry, what are you talking about?" Like, to the point where Baku got on his knees and everything and was like, "No, no, 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 no. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing this little job for myself." So it's definitely like Minami's apprehension about Baku getting a job isn't inherently because of him getting a job himself, but rather Baku getting a job that helps other people. Like, if he's doing it in a selfless way, then she has a problem with it, which makes sense considering how apparently every time Baku tries to do something nice for people, the universe will punish him in an insane manner. So I get it, but anyway, what I was saying is, like, you're like, imagine being mean to me. Like, your brother is acting like very strange. A lot of weird things are happening around him that just kind of started out of nowhere. And then you hear him pretty much struggling in the night. And watch what you believe is him having a heart attack or something and all that to the point where he stops breathing. Like I think it's clear that Minami is the sole income source for the house because their parents definitely aren't around and probably are dead as shit. But she's the one who actively has a job and who is making money, while like, and even if Baku wanted to help, she wouldn't do it. Like, she must be making fucking bank, but it's just interesting because I'm trying to think of how to describe it because, like, it's not necessarily like an assisted living situation, but it's like Minami is like, the primary earner and as a result takes care of all the household duties and all the income work, while Baku can kind of just do whatever he likes. And it doesn't seem to be a case like that was forced upon her by him, but rather she took this task upon herself because it would protect her brother and everything. And kind of hits a little close to home in some way with an older brother little sister duo. I'm not gonna lie there. That kind of like reawakens some part in my brain relating to personal experiences. But God, poor Minami, man. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know about the robot living in Baku's closet. She doesn't know that he's fighting, literally fighting monsters in the night. Like, this poor girl, man. Speaking of people close to you dying, I do want to quickly bring up that little scene that happened at the conference, before the pre-conference. I don't know what the hell they call those things. My brain is like empty in that regard, but the reveal of why Fujimi is so obsessed with black cases, because his subordinate retired a year ago. And I want to bring this up just to kind of like get it out there, but also because I'm genuinely curious if anyone else might think of this the same way. But the way that the wording was kind of like written out and everything, like, am I crazy for like, it's like, because they said like he left a resignation letter, and like it's implied that like that was it, like that was it, because clearly Fujimi hasn't like gone back to see him if he's still hung up on this. So I'm wondering, was that resignation letter a suicide note? Like, I'm genuinely curious if that's what's being implied, because it really does feel like that's the implication going on here. Uh, and this is going to be a very sudden shift, but while talking on the scene, I have to bring up, because when they mentioned Eldovier, I was like, that is definitely not a real place, but I should probably look it up just in case it is, and it's like a country that I've never heard of in my life. Um, it's not, obviously, but apparently, like, the first thing that comes up when you search up Eldove is that there is a romance Christmas book series, which is literally titled Christmas in Eldovie. So I'm like, congratulations, Zetsu, for sharing for sharing a name with another piece of media that is very far removed from what you are. That's funny. Good on you for there. And I guess I should maybe finish off my thoughts by, actively talking about Zetsu's new power up, the episodic power up that he gets now, which is recovery. And I've got to say, I love how, because like all his powers were kind of like announced before the show started airing, so we all like knew their names and had like a pretty solid idea of kind of what they were. But I like how not only is it like, yeah, those powers are kind of what we thought they were, but they also put a little twist on them, as it's like they are not just this one sole ability, but it can mean like different things, like recovery. It's like, okay, that's the healing ability, but recovery doesn't seem to just like extend to recovering people to their previous like bodily state, but rather it can also apply to inanimate objects. Like, cause Baku, like, what? He like restored a wall that was previously knocked down or something. Like, that's interesting. And it does make sense with the title of recovery, because recovery is most commonly associated with, you know, medical needs, human health, etc. But recovery does just mean as a word of like restoring, like putting things back where they once were in a way, which is so cool. I love that. I love that. And talking about the fucking wall and the scenery in general, the way that the restaurant transitions to like the empty building. Oh my god, that's cool. I love how just the writers, the designers, whoever on the team are like taking the fact that this stuff isn't a dream to like their full advantage by just being creative as shit with the settings. Like the door, like the first door being embedded into the table. Like it's not even like standing straight up, like it's embedded into the surface of the table. And then the way that the nightmare practically just like dragged the new location in and like overthrew the previous one, like that's just cool. That's just insanely cool, and I love that they're like being so experimental with how they show things off. It's so cool, man. Just I'm enjoying this show. Like I think even if like maybe like as the show goes on, like it starts getting like I guess I don't know, like fucking less good in the writing. Not saying that it'll happen, by the way. Like I'm just saying like in this hypothetical instance, even if the writing kind of gets a little bit more later on, I can definitely say I think the highlight of the show is probably going to be like the creativity present in like the scene transitions and how the environments are set up and like just how creative the team is with the environments they're working on. But all in all, just really good episode, man. Like I've been having a very difficult week. Like it's been both physically and mentally taxing and just hard to kind of muster up the energy to really do anything. And I genuinely thought that tonight was going to be like the first night that like I actively chose to like skip a Zetsu episode during its like broadcast because I just had like no feeling or cared very little to do anything because I was just so exhausted. But man, there's something in the water. There's something in the Kamen Rider water that just makes these shows just really like mood makers. Like I feel so much better after watching that episode because it got me excited, it made me think, it made me feel happy. And like that's been a feeling that I've been missing for a good portion of this week. So it's just maybe the real recovery was the Zetsu episodes we made along the way.